Hello! It's time for another Quilters challenge. And this month, it's me issuing the challenge, which is kind of funny because I totally forgot this was my month. Anyhow, my challenge for Quilters this month is to find something to do with your orphan blocks. You know the ones I'm talking about. I have so many orphan blocks, but the majority of these blocks are not mine. There is no quilt shop in my town. There used to be 3 quilt shops here, but all of the owners retired and no one has opened one since, which is such a shame. So I have a tendency to collect de-stash boxes. I literally have the ugliest fabric stash, but a lot of the time, those boxes have come with a lot of orphan blocks. So today, for my orphan block challenge, I'm going to be taking this sweater and I'm going to remove the arms and give them the orphan block treatment. I might even add a pocket to the front of this sweater, like a kangaroo pocket. If you're new here, I'm Sam, this is Quilting Curve Studio, let's go stitch. Okay, so here's a time lapse of me picking off the arms of my sweater. The sweater reads kettle down. It's the slogan of my town, which is why I chose the sweater. But honestly, I think it's gonna be way too big for me. Anyhow, I'm not a garment sewer, and this is the first time I've ever taken apart a sweater. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Also, the sweater was really well sewn. Any tips would be appreciated in the comments. But I started by removing the arm from the sweater, then I removed the cuff and saved it. I'm going to try and attach that back onto the sweater later. Then I opened up the arm along the bottom seam and I'm left with this arm shape. I have made a quilt coat before, so I kind of had an idea what things should look like, but at this point I was wondering if maybe I just should have made another quilt coat. I went through all my orphan blocks and I kind of wish I'd counted them because there was a lot. And I chose out my favorite ones. Ultimately, I decided to go with this sort of cottagecore colorway, as that seems to be trendy, and I have a ton of quilt blocks that fit that vibe. Okay, I have spent an embarrassing amount of time trying to figure out these sleeves, and so far this is kind of what I've come up with. I think this is going to work really well. Now, my original plan was to piece this on the long arm, but I'll be honest with you, I don't think that's a good idea. So I'm going to take some time and actually piece these little mini quilts together so then I can layer it on the long arm as one piece, because I'm scared that when I start piecing this together, I'm going to lose too much, and by not being able to press on the long arm, I think I'm going to end up with spaces that I just don't want to end up with. I think it's just smarter if I piece this together. So this is where I'm starting. I'm probably going to use some more of these sort of half square triangle blocks that I have to fill in some of the blanks here. I wish I had more of these, but I don't. So I might make the kangaroo pocket just out of maybe some of these and keep the chevron sort of going. I'm not quite sure, but I am going to piece something together for that after I piece these. So I'm going to go and do some piecing. Okay, so I'm in the long arm room and I have finished my little quilt tops that are going to be the arms of my sweater. Here is my sweater arm. I'm going to use this as the batting so I can maybe cut down on too much bulk. They're probably going to be pretty bulky. I'm just going to start by putting my sleeve on the backing here. I did iron these and I also marked a line down the center because this is going to be what shows the most on the sleeve. So I kind of use that as like the base when I was doing up my little mini quilts. This is the mini quilt. So these are all the orphan blocks. I did have to attach like some blocks at weird spots because it's not a square or anything like that. So I'm going to layer this over top. And I'm using that line that I marked to try and line up this little chevron piece. There are some little places where the sleeve fabric might be showing, but I think that's going to be taken up when I sew the thing back together because I'm going to be using about a 1/2 inch seam allowance to sew the sleeve back together. That's kind of what I noticed it was when I took it apart. We're going to call this good. Let's go down to the machine and stitch. There are timestamps for this video, so you can skip the quilting part if you want. For the quilting, I decided to keep it pretty traditional and just do some continuous curves and stitch in the ditch. I am using a couple different rulers because as a professional long armer, I own way too many rulers. But this design can totally be done freehand. I use a 2-inch, 4-inch, and 6-inch round ruler alongside my favorite rocket ruler. I also do a little bit of matchstick quilting around the maple leaf to make it stand out. I was going to change the thread color at one point, but I ended up changing my mind and continued with this cream color throughout the sleeves and the kangaroo pocket. I did end up piecing some of the half square triangles into these flying geese for the pocket. I do some dense matchstick quilting to match the maple leaf blocks, but otherwise keep it pretty simple. Instead of using my 4-inch round ruler, I opted for this beanie ruler from Silly Moon Quilt Company and found it really comfortable to use because of the beveled edges. I found this cool bear block and this funny little rabbit block. So what I'm gonna do is I think I'm just gonna cut around this little bunny, and I kind of want to like put it up here on the shoulder, or maybe down here, like just have a little bunny. And then I was thinking, this is like an applique bear and tree that I made for like a while back. I can't even remember, it was for something, I can't remember, but I think maybe I'll put it on the back here. You know, I think I'll just fold the edges and just stitch it down. Just put something on the back. Start winging this. I thought about Googling it, but I think I'm just gonna go for it. Okay, so I've got this block here. I just wanna have these edges. I'm gonna try and use some of this glue stick. I know other people use proper glue, but this is what I got. So I'm gonna give this a shot. I think I used glue. I used glue on my little heifer, my happy little heifer project that I did for the challenges. And man, did that work good. So I might be a glue convert here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to prep is my kangaroo pocket. I did make my template out of freezer paper, so I've just kind of ironed it onto here so it doesn't move around too much. And I'm going to cut this a little bit bigger because I do want to like fold it in. And I don't know, I'm not quite sure exactly what's going on here, but I'm going to cut it a bit bigger. So like half an inch bigger. I think half an inch has got to be enough, right? See what happens. I did struggle a little bit with this pocket, as you can see, but before I started sewing it onto the sweater, I did fold down the edges of the pocket so it is open. Here are my sleeves. Before I quilted these, I actually did make myself a template so that I'm going to be able to cut these out. I kind of did draw around them as well when I was quilting, but I think a template's probably what's best here. So I'm going to use this to cut out the sleeves, and then as far as I'm concerned, I think the hard part's gonna start. Okay, so I've taken my first sweater sleeve and I've ironed on my freezer paper template. So now what I'm gonna do is cut around my template and then try and figure out how to sew this back onto the sweater. Is take this cuff and I'm going to put it on like this. I think, yes. So I'm gonna put the cuff on the outside. And this is the cuff that I had cut off earlier when I originally took the sweater apart. So I'm just putting the old cuff back on. Now I'm gonna clip it here. I am gonna kind of offset these seams just because I've got quite a bit of bulk here. I don't know if that's correct or not. Again, this is not a tutorial. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. Okay, so here are my two sleeves. I think they look great. I mean, there's extra threads everywhere. Oh my goodness. But yeah, so here's the sleeves. I think they're gonna look really good. So what I'm gonna do is just put them right sides together on the inside here, matching up the shoulder. I'm just gonna put a pin right here, just so I know that this is the center, which is funny because like that is exactly what I had originally planned to be the center. Match these seams up. So this is the top seam by the neck hole with this one. And then I'm just gonna pin, maybe I'll clip. I think I could actually clip this. I don't think I need to pin it. So there's the sweater. I think it looks really good. Obviously these arms are gonna be a bit stiff for a while until they relax a bit, but I'm gonna go try this on. Okay, here's my sweater, and it is massively too big for me. I kind of suspected it was gonna be too big. It's a large sweater when I started, but it's pretty cool, right? I'm just gonna switch over. I'm gonna get my husband to try this on. I think it might look a little bit better on him, not on me. So even though this sweater didn't fit me, I really enjoyed making it. I learned a lot, and I think it was a really fun experiment for Orphan blocks. Now, I don't know if the quilted sleeves are really that viable. I hope these soften up in the laundry because they are pretty stiff compared to the sweatshirt material. I don't really know how comfortable this is going to be to wear, but obviously I'm not going to be wearing it anyways. And the other thing I think I learned is that I would use a lighter weight batting for a quilted pocket, or even maybe no batting at all. But I really did enjoy the process, and I love the way this looks. So I'm going to probably revisit this idea in the future. But I hope you take some time, grab some of your Orphan blocks, and go out and make something. Check out what the other YouTubers who are participating in the Quilters Challenge have done. They're an amazing group of YouTubers, and it's been really fun. I will see you next month. Thanks for watching. I'm not really sure who I'm gonna give this sweater to because I obviously can't wear it, and it's not really my husband's style.